Welcome back to the Vision Writers Program. This program is designed to help you become a calligraphist, an urban writer, using the basic steps that urban writers have used for years. Today you're going to concentrate on creating a piece from your tag or from your signature. Welcome, Vision Writers. If you could first go ahead and get out your materials, which will be your sketchbook, pencil, markers, your marker set. If you have Sharpie markers, you can use those as well. Remember, last class was explained to go ahead and pull a sheet of paper from your sketchbook and put it underneath the piece of paper that you're writing on, so that way you won't have too much bleed through into the next sheet when you're doing your illustration. Now that you have your materials ready, let's go ahead and get started. Go ahead and pick out the colored marker that you'd like to work with. It's best to pick a mid-tone to a light. I'm going with a bright red because I'm going to outline in a dark color. Now I would encourage you to do the same, just that you can go ahead and have something light in the inside, a little easier to outline. Choose the word that you're going to tag. Just like before, write that word several times over and over. You can do it with pen, you can do it with marker. I've chosen the word create. A reminder that we're thinking about what we've been going through in these COVID times, the uprising and the uplifting, and what it is that's been important to us. I've chosen the word create. My fellow artist has chosen to do not lonely. Now that I've kind of figured out what name I'm going to be writing, or what word I'm going to be writing, you should have done the same. Go ahead and flip to a blank page in your book and put your cushion page in between that page and the next. So I'm doing my tag with create with the thick side of the marker, the wedge end. Adding just a little bit, but really just building on the basic graffiti tag itself. The C, the R, the E, the A, the T, the E. Create. If you notice, there are parts where I'm crossing over the letters, braiding or using the flow of the letters to have a connection between. The C leads into the R. The top of the T leads into the top of the E. Now, I'm going to thicken the tag. So I'm still using the same flow that I wrote with, but I'm just making it a little thicker, adding some dynamism and some flow to it. You can use the thin side of your marker, or you can use the thick side of your marker, depending on what's easiest for you. When I'm doing the smaller spots, I'm using the thin side, but then I'll rotate out to use the thick side of the marker, just for the sake of time and getting it done. So during this time, you should be doing the same. Thickening up your tag, adding a little bit of thickness to trapezoidal shaping, a little extra line. Remember, following the parallel line that you already have in your tag, but you can thicken it out, or you can make it thinner using the tag line as the thinnest part. I'm adding a little bit to each letter to give them some flow. Go ahead and do the same while we continue working on our pieces. As you can see, my fellow artist did a different approach, going really hollow letter, which you're going to be learning a little bit about as well in the future and in another lesson. She did not lonely. to represent what she's thinking about and feeling during the COVID pandemic. Go ahead and continue working on your own tags, making them thicker into actual piece letters. Once you have your base lettering done, you can begin to add things such as arrows, extensions, or bits. If you think about letters almost like a tree, think about the branches of a tree and how those leaves come off of that tree. You can think about your letters in that manner, building your branches, the things that will come out and extend from those letters. Look at your flow. You can follow your existing flow. So if a letter is writing one way, you can add an extension, an arrow, or a bit that joins with that flow. Go ahead and take some time to make your piece a little more dynamic by adding a little bit of flavor to it. Again, you still have your central lettering, the C, the R, the E, the A, the T, the E. Just building around it, putting architecture on the piece with those extensions and bits. And now I'm going to go ahead and outline the piece. Choose a darker color than the one you chose for your fill-in and outline the piece. In our example here, our fellow artist has done her outline using a turquoise color. It's primarily a white fill-in based on the color of the paper. I'm going to go ahead and begin outlining. You pick your color and you start outlining as well. Again, use the thin tip of your marker or a Sharpie marker to do your outline. This will take a little bit of time. Try your best to be clean. You can rotate your paper different directions to get your outline the way you would like it. as you complete your outline, you can think about the next step. Would you like to add a drop shadow or a 3D? Choose which direction you're going to do so. Right now we're going to focus on up, down, left, or right. So I'm going to do a drop shadow going downward. And if you remember when we went over what a 3D is, the base model for a 3D is basically creating a third parallel line off of the first two lines which make up your letters. And that would be your 3D. It's very similar with a drop shadow, except that it will be a little closer to the piece itself and going to displace the shadow. It's not going to be connected to the piece, so it actually looks like a shadow. So now that you're done with your outline, go ahead and decide which components you would like to add, the drop shadow or a 3D, and take a minute to do so. Now that you have your piece done, you've done your base fill-in using your tag, you've outlined it and added a 3D or drop shadow. Let's add some basic background. Doesn't have to be anything real complicated. What I'm doing here is simple bubbles, which are basically linked circles, and they become bubbles. Using a yellow, have a little contrast with the red. Because use the black outline and use the thin side of the marker, I'm displacing my background for now so that I don't get bleed from the black marker. When I feel like it's a little drier, I'll go in and bring that yellow up right to the letters into that drop shadow. I'm going to use yellow and a little orange to create these bubbles. You go ahead and decide what kind of background you would like to do. It can be bubbles, bars, shapes, hearts, clouds. So be creative. Enjoy yourself and go ahead and design your background. Congratulations! You've now successfully created a piece from a tag. This may not be your first excursion into this journey, but keep going. Do this over and over. Choose different words, play with different colors, do different designs. Remember, it also doesn't have to be very complex. If you want, you can use base readable letters. It can be cursive. It can follow your own regular handwriting and not necessarily tag writing. Just pick your colors, play around with it, and then go ahead and do more of these tags into pieces. Create, not lonely. Making a tag into a piece. Now that you've made some of your own, let's look at some examples from a recent X-Men arcade collaboration in Inglewood. Notice the colors of each piece and each artist that we visit here. The techniques, the choices that they make for their fill-in colors, for their outline, and for their 3D. This is Jinx, Jinx. See if you can see the letters. Oxford, with his great dedication to Heckle Fresh, the past leader of the X-Men. Rest in paradise. Notice the fill-in colors, white, with two different outline colors and one main 3D color in the background. Think about these kind of designs as you develop your own style. Word shows an excellent example of embedding a character within a piece, using perhaps Pharaoh Tut or another pharaoh's semblance as the O in his word. You notice his fill-in is red, black, and green. A beautiful piece, and you can always do this yourself if you would like to substitute a person or a character for a letter. On this production, writers chose to alternate pieces and characters, or to combine pieces and characters. So notice the dynamic way that each artist shows their own technique in their lettering, their color form, or their character design. Cujo and Gabe did a very clever collaboration, basically putting both of their names together back to back, alternating letters, and then Cujo's awesome character. Static piece is an excellent example of a tag to piece, or particularly using rollers, thick painting on a wall between a thin roller's thickness or a thick roller's thickness to do his base letters, then coming back with 3 colors of spray paint to make it dynamic, stand out, and clean it up. This is a classic approach reflecting the things that you use today. This is a piece that I did. It says burner. I was experimenting in using 3 different color streams, the style that I developed many years ago. So using the turquoise, the oranges, and the purples, and bringing them together on 3 different levels in the piece design itself. Then if you notice, I have green arrows that are emanating from the center to bring a little bit of movement and vibrancy to the piece in the background. Arrows, an excellent example of meticulous color design, mixing reality with abstraction. This is one of Chicago's best portrait artists, part of Arcade Crew, along with Static. You'll be seeing more of Arrows' work as we go further along in the class. This is detail, D-T-E-L, a great example of funk lettering, derivative from South Chicago and the southwest side of Chicago, a little village. Take a look at his choice to use his T in a different form by coloring it differently than the rest of the letters. His background colors also contrast with the filling inside. Characters always help to bring life to your wall. You can insert them between pieces or within your piece itself. Thank you for taking the journey today and developing your pieces from tags. Now, next step, you're going to learn about blocking off letters and developing pieces from your tags in a different way. Enjoy and continue and keep on your practice.